Welcome to Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Survivor Series results. And we got the first match of the only match of the pre-show as we start off. Raw versus SmackDown 5-on-5 Tag Team Traditional Elimination Match. Gable and Bobby Roode versus the Ascension. Actually, SmackDown. This is the Raw teams. Chad Gable, Bobby Roode, the Ascension, Lucha House Party, the Revival, and the B Team. Versus the Usos, New Day, the Cologne, Sanity, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. And we go right to the ring. Tom Phillips welcomes us to the show. Joined in by Corey Graves, Byron Saxton. On the pay-per-view, out versus Team SmackDown, the New Day, Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. They all work the mic before giving a big introduction to Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Woods then introduces the Colognes, Primo and Epco. Kofi introduced Sanity's Eric Young, Killian Dane, and Alexander Wolf. The Usos, Jimmy Uso and Jay Uso, were introduced next for Team SmackDown. They welcome Raw to the SmackDown Penitentiary. Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder was out next for Team Raw. Lucha House Party, Kalisto, Lince Dorado, and Grand Metalik were out next, followed by Connor and Victor of the Ascension. B teams Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas were out next. Raw team captains of Bobby Roode and Chad Gable were out last. Gable takes the mic and talks some trash outside the ring. Fans boo. Roode follows up and leads the entire Team Raw in a glorious pose. Epico starts off with Kalisto. Metalik, Wolf, and Kofi watch from ringside. Epico gets the upper hand after some kicks from Kalisto. Epico with a long suplex for a 2 count. Kalisto looks like he tweaked his left knee, but just suckered Epico in for an elbow. Dorado tagged in and drop kicked Epico. Kalisto tags right back for a big double team sequence to Epico. Kalisto covers for a 2 count. Primo tagged in and worked over Kalisto. Primo with a low drop kick and more kicks to Kalisto. As Primo sweeps Kalisto and shows off some, Primo gets sent into Epico, knocking him off the apron. Dawson then tagged in. Kalisto lands bad and may have really tweaked his knee. Dash tags in, and the Revival ends up hitting a shatter machine to Primo for the pin, and the Colognes have been eliminated. Anderson tags in and unloads on the Revival with spine busters. Anderson covers Dash, but Axel breaks up the pin. Kalisto is down on the floor with an apparent injury. Metalik replaces him on the apron as Axel comes in and unloads on Anderson for a 2 count. Dallas leads the B team chant while Axel stomps in the corner. Dallas tags in and they double team Anderson for a 2 count. Dallas gets kicked by Gallows for a cheap shot, allowing Anderson to cover him for the pin. B team has been eliminated. Looks like Gable and Big E are about to go at it, but Dane tagged himself in. Dane goes at it with Gable and launches himself at him with the divide crossbody for a 2 count. Young tags in and they nail a double team neck breaker to Gable, but Roode breaks the pin. Dane tosses Roode to the apron, but he hangs on. Dane then charges, but Roode sidesteps and Dane lands on the floor. Roode tags in and joins Gable for a moonsault. Roode awakening. Combo to Young. Roode covers for the pin. Sanity has been eliminated. Being that I was still at work during the pre-show, because I didn't get off till 6 o'clock, getting the dirt sheet results from the first 45 minutes of the pay-per-view. Connor ends up going at it with Big E, dropping him with a shoulder. Big E puts Connor in an abdominal stretch and spanks him. Connor tosses Big E across the ring. Woods comes in, but Connor boxes DDT in midair. Connor with a fall-away slam to Woods. Victor tags in and takes control of Woods as Kofi tries to rally him with pancakes from ringside. Woods fights up, but Victor elbows him in the head. Woods runs the ropes and dodges shots, dropping Victor with a rolling elbow. Big E tags in and Woods picks him up on his shoulders. Woods slams Big E on the top of Victor for the pin. Ascension has been eliminated. Metallic ends up going at it with Gallows next. Lance tags in and flies off the top, but Gallows catches him. Anderson comes in for the Magic Killer, but Lance counters it. Metallic counters a stunner from Gallows. Lance and Anderson end up trading counters, but Anderson gets tossed into the ropes. Gallows and Anderson end up on the floor to regroup, but Metallic and Lance nail a moonsault to the floor at the same time. We see Calypso down, but cheering them on from the floor. Metallic hits a senton on Anderson for the pin. Anderson and Gallows have been eliminated. Fans are booing. Jimmy comes in as Metallic taunts him. Jimmy takes it to the floor and rocks him. Lance gets a tag after Metallic nails a dropkick. Jimmy gets rolled up for a 2 count. Lance with a middle rope moonsault for a 2 count. Lance with another big takedown. Jay tags in and catches Dorado in mid-move to spike him on the mat. Jay covers for the pin. Lucha House Party has been eliminated. Match is down to Gable and Rude and the Revival versus the New Day and the Usos. Dawson and Woods go at it now. The referee is distracted by Dash falling in, allowing the Revival to turn it around. Gable comes in and works on Woods' leg. Dawson tags back in and keeps up the attack on Woods. More back and forth between Woods and Dawson now. Woods takes out Gable and Rude from the apron. Woods with a missile dropkick to Dawson. Big E tags in, as does Dash. Big E unloads with big belly-to-belly suplexes. Big E stands tall for a pop as Big E dances over Dash and then runs the ropes, but Dawson runs in. Big E closes him to the floor. Dash rolls Big E up for a 2 count. Dash then gets sent to the apron. Big E doesn't see Gable tag in. Gable plants Big E with a suplex. Rude tags in for a double team with Gable on Big E. The German suplex into the neck breaker. Rude holds the pin, but Big E kicks out just in time. Rude gets hyped up as Big E slowly gets to his feet. Big E blocks the glorious DDT with a big elbow. Wood tags in and sends Rude into a backstabber combo with Big E. Gable makes a save. And Rude kicks out at 2. Jimmy gets sent to the floor. Dawson runs the ropes for a big dive to the floor. Taking out Jimmy and Kofi, Woods flies out and takes Dawson down. But Dash drops Woods on the floor with a big DDT. Big E runs the ropes and spears Dash to the floor for a big pop. Rude and Gable are just left standing in the ring. Gable runs the ropes, and Rude launches him out on top of the others. Jay comes in out of nowhere and flattens Rude with a big super kick. Jay mocks Rude's taunt and runs the ropes, leaping out onto everyone else. Jimmy goes up top now, but Gable crotches him. Gable climbs up and hits a massive super German suplex to Jay. From the top turnbuckle to the group of superstars on the floor, fan chant, "Holy crap." Gable is legal now. Rude holds Woods for a double team, but it backfires as Gable ends up on the mat. Woods and Rude go at it. Big E tags in, and Woods hits an honor roll on Rude. Gable moonsaults, but Big E catches him in mid-move. Woods and Big E drive Gable down with a double team for the pin. Gable and Rude have both been eliminated. The Revival double team Big E now, but it almost backfires for a close pin attempt. Dawson with a DDT to Big E. Woods tags in and botches a DDT to Dawson. Woods rocks Dawson. Dawson misses a shot. Woods dumps Dawson as Wilder is the legal man now. Woods drops Wilder and goes to the top. Woods walks the ropes and flies out for a double clothesline to the Revival, but they catch him with a shadow machine in mid-move. Fans boo as it was botched a bit, it appears. New Day has been eliminated. Usos and the Revival face off in the ring now. Both teams start brawling. Dawson ends up sending Jay into the steel steps. Revival hits the top rope bulldog to Jimmy for another close 2 count. Dawson knocks Jay off the apron. After more back and forth action, Jimmy drops Dawson with an enziguri to the face. Jimmy goes to the top, but Dawson cuts him off. Dawson rocks Jimmy and climbs up. Dash tags in and goes to the other corner. Dawson nails a superplex and Dash follows up with a splash. Dash covers, but Jay barely breaks the pin in time. Jay avoids the shatter machine to Jimmy. Jimmy kicks out at 2. Dawson eats a super kick. They hit a double super kick to Dash, then on Dawson. Jimmy goes up top and they pay tribute to Roman Reigns with a big splash to Dawson. Jimmy covers for the pin and the win. And the first match for Team SmackDown. And I believe that was the only match that they won. Of course, that's on the pre-show. And the announcers don't count the pre-show as a win for the pay-per-view. After the match, Usos recover and stand tall as the music hits. We go to replays. Revival hits up the ramp and gives each other props as the Usos look on. Charlie's backstage with Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, Nia Jax, and Tamina. Charlie asks about replacements for Ruby Riott and Natalya. Bliss introduces Sasha Banks and Bayley, saying she's picked them. Bayley and Banks aren't happy about how the others treated them on Raw last week, but Team SmackDown crossed the line and they will do this just for the red brand. Sasha says they are coming for all their teammates once tonight is over. Go back to the panel. They go over tonight's pay-per-view card. Booker believes Team SmackDown will come out on top. Otunga disagrees and also believes Rousey will win her match against Flair. Phoenix believes Rousey and Flair will blow everything out of the water tonight, but she believes Flair is winning and will cement her legacy with the win. Coach wraps up the show, or the pre-show, and that's it for the kickoff as we see the women's teams backstage getting ready for the pay-per-view. 2018 Survivor Series pay-per-view opens up with a video package. We're live from the sold-out Staples Center in Los Angeles, so they say. As Michael Coleshaw welcomes us to the Survivor Series, he's joined at ringside by Corey Graves and Renee Young. Raw vs. SmackDown 5-on-5 traditional elimination match. Nia Jax, Tamina Snuka, Ember Moon, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. With the team captain Alexa Bliss not in action. Versus Naomi, Sonya Deville, Asuka, Carmella, and Mandy Rose. Team captain Naomi. Go to the ring for tonight's Team Raw vs. Team SmackDown match as Carmella comes out with R-Truth. Wrapping their way to the ring, Team SmackDown captain Naomi was out next. Mandy Rose is out as JoJo does introductions. Sonya Deville was out next. Asuka was out last to a big pop. We'll see a replay from the recent women's invasion angle on Raw. Team Raw was out next as Captain Alexa Bliss comes out. She will not be wrestling tonight. Of course, Mickie James is out next, followed by Tamina. Nia Jax music hits and out she comes as the arena fills with our boos. Sasha was out next, followed by Bayley to a pop. Bell rings and the two teams get ready to battle. Naomi starts off with Snuka. Fans start chanting Becky for SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch, as she's injured but not been removed as champion as of yet. Naomi with a quick pin attempt after taking down Snuka. Tamina decks Naomi and knocks Rose off the apron. A big brawl breaks out in the ring with all 10 superstars. Asuka sends Banks to the floor after a bunch of strikes. Naomi takes Jax down with a kick. Snuka super kicks Naomi and pins her. Naomi has been eliminated to boos. And the captain of SmackDown is gone. Carmella comes from behind and immediately rolls up Snuka for a pin. And Snuka's been eliminated. Carmella calls for a dance break and the music hits and the lights go down. She dances and stops but turns around to Jax staring at her. This backfires, but Rose ends up tagging in. She taunts Jax, but Jax levels her for a close 2 count. Rose comes back and drops Jax. Mickie tags in and unloads on Rose. Rose pushes her away and misses a clothesline. Mickie with a neck breaker for a 2 count. Rose with an abdominal stretch to Mickie. While driving an elbow to the gut, Mickie breaks it and drops Rose into a submission. Rose makes it to the bottom rope to break the hold. Asuka tags in and stares Mickie down. Fan chant for Asuka as they lock up. They go at it and collide with shoulders in the middle of the ring, and both are still standing. Twice Asuka drops Mickie with a hip attack. Asuka with more offense to Mickie. Asuka with a submission into a close 2 count. Counter by Mickie. Asuka drops Mickie with a back fist. Sonya tags in and rams Mickie into the corner. Sonya with a thrust and the referee backs her off. Deville goes back in, but Mickie elbows her. Mickie drops her again and delivers 2 kicks. Mickie is in control, but Bayley tags herself in. Bayley and Mickie have a few words. Bayley drops elbows on Deville and covers for a 2 count. Banks tags in and starts working over Deville in the corner. Banks with knees to the gut while Deville was laid out in the corner. Mickie tags herself in. and hits the Threads press on Sonya for a 2 count. DeVille counters and hits a spear. DeVille charges in with a knee, but Mandy is legal now as she tags herself in. Rose runs in and steals the pin. Mickey has been eliminated. Rose and DeVille have some words. Bayley tags in and rolls up for a 2 count. Rose turns it around. And in comes Carmella. Carmella takes Bayley to the corner and works her over. Bayley drops Carmella in the corner and goes to the top, but has to land on her feet. Bayley misses again, and Carmella kicks her to her knees. Carmella moonwalks while applying a headlock. Carmella keeps control of Bayley and mocks Banks. Carmella charges into the corner, but Bayley catches her with a Bayley to belly suplex. Bayley covers for the pin. Carmella has been eliminated. Rose runs back in and takes Bayley back down, working her over in the corner. Rose keeps control and mocks Bayley. Banks finally gets a tag. She hits clothesline and drop kick to Rose. Banks misses knees in the corner as Rose moved. Banks comes back with a backstabber into the Banks statement. Rose taps. Rose has been eliminated. DeVille runs in and starts pounding on Banks. It's down to DeVille and Asuka versus Banks, Bayley, and Jax. Asuka tags in and unloads on Banks in the corner with kicks. Asuka takes Banks to another corner and hits the hip attack. Asuka with a kick and a 2 count. DeVille tags back in and drops Banks into a body scissors. Banks powers up with DeVille on her back. Ramming her into the corner, Banks tosses DeVille to the mat. DeVille blocks the tag, but Banks finally gets it. Bayley comes in with a clothesline to DeVille. Bayley with a counter and a running knee to DeVille. Bayley with more offense and a high knee in the corner for a 2 count. Bayley dodges moves, but DeVille rocks her and nails a spine buster for a 2 count as Jax runs in and breaks the pin fall. Fans are booing Jax. Jax runs into the ring post after DeVille moves. Fans are popping. Asuka kicks Jax in the face as they pop again. Banks ends up nailing the Meteora from the apron to Asuka on the floor. Bayley with a big suplex to DeVille for a 2 count. DeVille ends up taking Bayley to the mat, but she also lands hard on her neck on the floor. DeVille kicks Bayley into the barrier. As the referee counts, they continue brawling. Bayley with a Bayley to belly suplex on the floor. They both get counted out, so Bayley and DeVille have been eliminated at the same time. So it's down to Asuka versus Banks and Jax. Banks faces off with Asuka in the ring. They go at it and trade drop kicks. Asuka blocks a backstabber and levels Banks. Asuka with a big German suplex, dropping Banks on her neck. Banks catches Asuka with a right hand. Jax joins Banks on the apron, and the fans pop. Asuka knocks Jax off with a hip attack, and the fans pop again. Banks comes in ready while she recovers on the outside. Asuka with a hip attack to Banks on the outside. Asuka brings Banks back in and nails a missile drop kick for another close 2 count. Fan chant for Asuka as she goes at it with Banks now. Banks goes for the Banks statement, but Asuka counters with an Asuka lock. It's countered. Sasha with a 2 count. Banks blocks a kick and sends Asuka to the corner. Banks with a flying knees into the corner. Banks goes up top, but Jax comes to the apron and pushes her partner off. This allows Asuka to roll Banks into the Asuka lock. Banks taps to Asuka. Banks has been eliminated. Fans boo as Jax enters the ring and drops a pair of legs on Asuka while she's down. Jax with a third leg drop. Jax stands tall as the boos continue. Fans are not happy with Jax injuring Lynch. Jax with a Samoa drop for the easy pin on Asuka, as Asuka was eliminated and the sole survivor for Team Raw, Nia Jax. After the match, Jax stands tall and taunts the crowd. As the music hits, we go to replays. Bliss enters the ring and raises Jax's arm as the boos continue. We see acting Raw general manager Constipated Corbin backstage with Raw Commissioner Stephanie McMahon watching the action. I still hadn't gotten home from work to see the pay-per-view yet. Stephanie says last week was a black mark on Corbin's career, and if he wants his job to be permanent, he needs to make sure Team Raw sweeps things tonight. Corbin says the win from just now should erase the black mark, but he guarantees a sweep. They're interrupted by SmackDown Commissioner Shane McMahon and SmackDown General Manager Paige. The two sides have words about their brands, and Shane says he can't wait to see his sister fire Corbin. The blue brand bosses walk off. Raw vs. SmackDown Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura, the U.S. champion from SmackDown. I caught the match about 1 minute before it ended, and I'll let you know from the dirt sheet until I come in. Back to the ring. Tom Phillips welcomes us back to the ring. He's joined in by Corey Graves, Michael Saxon at ringside. They switch announcers. Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins makes his way out as Greg Hamilton does the ring introductions. U.S. Champion Shinsuke Nakamura was out next for this non-title match. Tom shows us the German and Spanish announce teams at ringside. The bell rings and they size each other up, getting a feel for each other. Nakamura takes it to the corner and slowly backs off. Playing mind games early on, fans do dueling chants. Nakamura backs off and tells Rollins to bring it. Rollins plays some mind games of his own. They lock up and Nakamura works on the arm. They tangle and Nakamura gets the upper hand. For a second, more mind games and slowing the pace between the two. Rollins lays up on the top turnbuckle and tells Nakamura to bring it back in. Nakamura strikes into the corner, but Rollins turns it around and ends up dropping Nakamura on the apron after blocking a kick. Nakamura comes back and drops Rollins with a big kick to stop the momentum. Nakamura lays Rollins on the apron, delivers a knee strike from the floor. Nakamura brings it back in and covers for a 2 count. Nakamura more offense, including a knee strike to the face for a 2 count. Nakamura keeps Rollins grounded as the fans are trying to rally for Rollins. Nakamura puts the boots to Rollins again, and the referee warns him. Well, you got a 5 count in the ropes. Nakamura continues to dominate the match. Rollins finally counters in the corner and sends Nakamura face first into the turnbuckles. They trade shots in the middle of the ring now. Rollins unloads and hits a sling blade. Rollins keeps control and dumps Nakamura to the floor over the top rope. Nakamura lands bad. Rollins runs the ropes for a pair of suicide dives. Fan chant one more time and Rollins gives it to him. Rollins brings it back into the ring and hits a top rope flying clothesline for another 2 count. Nakamura ends up blocking a shot and missing a shot, coming right back with a kick to the head to drop Rollins. Nakamura with more stiff kicks. Rollins sends him to the corner and charges, but gets rocked himself. Nakamura with high knees to the ribs while Rollins is placed over the top turnbuckle. Nakamura with a close 2 count. They fight off counters again. Nakamura takes a backstabber. More back and forth action. Rollins with a brutal super kick for a 2 count. Rollins grabs Nakamura for a buckle bomb, but he fights out of it with a rake to the eyes. Rollins misses in the corner, hits the turnbuckle. Nakamura with a kick to the back of the neck. Nakamura unloads with stomps in the corner. Now as the referee backs him off. Again, you got a 5 count to break it off. Rollins comes back with a swinging and a brawl. Rollins unloads against the ropes and stomps away now as the referee also backs him off. Nakamura counters a short arm clothesline and drops Rollins into a triangle. Rollins finally powers up and turns that into a buckle bomb as the fans pop. Rollins cranks up for the stomp as the fans do the burn it down chant. Rollins kicks Nakamura in the gut, but Nakamura rocks him in the face. Rollins comes back with a forearm. Nakamura with a headbutt. Nakamura drives Rollins into the mat with a landslide and holds it on for a 2 count. Nakamura goes to the top turnbuckle, but Rollins runs up and hits a superplex. Rollins holds it and nails a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. They both get up and trade big shots in the middle of the ring. Nakamura gets the upper hand and nails a kick to the back of the neck. It's a Gary as I come in to that action right there. Nakamura with a reverse exploder. Nakamura charging for the Kinshasa. Hits the turnbuckle instead. Rollins drops Nakamura with a big ripcord knee, but Nakamura kicks out just in time. Rollins tries for the frog splash, but misses as Nakamura moves, and Nakamura comes right back with a Kinshasa for a 2 count as the fans pop. Nakamura readies for another Kinshasa as Rollins slowly gets up. Rollins meets him with a big super kick. Rollins misses a stomp, and Nakamura drops him with a big kick to the head. Another enziguri. Rollins avoids the Kinshasa and hits the stomp for the pin to win. Another Raw win for Team Raw. So it's 2-0 right now on the pay-per-view itself. After the match, Rollins Santal gets a title as we go to replays. Rollins stands tall as his arm is raised as Nakamura makes his exit, pointing back at the ring. Rollins just nods, back from the break, and the men's Team Raw is backstage. Braun Strowman walks in. He tells Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley that he doesn't like them. He doesn't even know who Leo Rush is. He says Finn Balor is all right, but he needs help tonight. He needs to get his weight in. Drew steps up and says if anyone should be barking orders, it's him because he took out the Shield, among other accomplishments. Braun gets in Drew's face. Drew warns Braun to stay out of his way. As constipated Corbin comes in and interrupts the action backstage. Braun gets in his face, and Corbin reminds him of his deal with Stephanie McMahon. That he can't touch Corbin until after tonight. After the pay-per-view itself is over. Or he doesn't get his match. Braun throws Rush into Corbin and says that will have to do for now. Braun walks off. R-Truth storms in and tries to get Team Raw on the same page. After all, he is on Raw. Somewhat. Corbin yells at him and says he's not even part of their team. And he tells him to get out. Backstage area. Locker room. Raw versus SmackDown. Raw Tag Team Champions. The Authors of Pain versus SmackDown Tag Team Champions. The Bar. We go back to the ring and out comes SmackDown Tag Team Champions. The Bar. Cesaro and Sheamus. Big Show is out last. He hits in the ring with the Bar. Raw Tag Team Champions. The Authors of Pain are out next. Akam and Rezar. And as well, 205 Live General Manager Drake Maverick is in their corner. Tom shows us some of the other international announced teams in the arena. The bell rings, and here we go. Here's a bit of a chaos to start. The Bar double teams Rezar. Cesaro unloads on Rezar and hits an uppercut train in the corner. Akam runs in and drops Sheamus off the apron. Cesaro goes for the swing on Akam, but Rezar stops it with a clothesline. Things settle down again as Rezar drops Cesaro with a 2 count. Akam and Rezar double team Cesaro near their corner now. Cesaro tries to mount offense, but Akam tackles him and pounds on him. Big Show talks trash from ringside. Rezar tags back in for the double team to Cesaro. Cesaro takes a knee to the face, but still kicks out of 2. Sheamus comes in and rocks Rezar. The referee backs Sheamus out as there was no tag. As Cesaro rolls Rezar up for a 2 count. Akam comes back in and keeps control until Cesaro fires back with uppercuts. Akam runs right back with a clothesline for a 2 count. Cesaro finally starts to mount some offense with a springboard shot. Sheamus waits for the tag, and Sheamus and Rezar tag in at the same time, and Sheamus unloads. During the match at ringside, former star Enzo Amore, drunk as heck, makes a fool of himself, with the crowd acknowledging it as he gets escorted from the building. His Twitter fans provide links showing it here at George Wrestling, at this link. Then you got at Sage Surge, says, bruh, like how salty are you? Especially when you're on these streets shouting how great you are without WB. Go home, Enzo. You're drunk. Hashtag Enzo Amore, hashtag WB, hashtag Survivor Series, hashtag Survivor Series 2018. And at that link. And your final Twitter comment from at Terry_Palacios. At Jobber Sports, good old Enzo Amore gets escorted out. Hashtag Survivor Series. And at this link. Back to the action. Rezar misses a splash in the corner. Sheamus with knee strikes. Sheamus knocks Akam off the apron and gets a pop. Rezar gets blocked and Sheamus drops him over the top rope. Sheamus with forearm to the chest of Rezar. As fans count along, Sheamus goes to the top and hits a flying clothesline to Rezar. Rezar kicks out at 2. Drake is worried at ringside now, as he thinks his team about to lose. Well, Sheamus yells out, waits for the road kick. Drake gets on the apron for some interference. Cesaro rocks Rezar and Sheamus follows up with a road kick, but Rezar kicks out as Drake puts his foot on the bottom rope to break it. Well, Cesaro chases Drake around the ring as Drake runs into Big Show and goes down hard. Show chokes Drake from the floor, puts him up back on the apron, and we see that Drake urinates on himself. And one of the announcers even said, "I'd rather be pissed on than pissed off," or "I'd rather be pissed off than pissed on." Everyone laughs as Authors of Pain take advantage of the distraction and hit a double team powerbomb on Sheamus, and Razor makes a pinfall to win. Winners of the match, Authors of Pain. So it's like 3-0. After the match, so far it is a clean sweep. Razor and Nakam take the titles and leave up the ramp with them in the air without Drake. Their music hits and we go to replays. Drake joins AOP on the stage and they stand tall as Raw is up 3-0 now. Show and the bar look on from the ring as AOP raises the titles up. And yes, he wet his pants. We get a backstage segment. It kind of looked like he had a water jug in it to tell the segment anyway. Then we get this backstage segment with the men's SmackDown, Team SmackDown getting on the same page. R-Truth interrupts him. He yells at him again. Well, he actually is telling them that he wants to join SmackDown. Be back on SmackDown. Cruiserweight title match was up next. Mustafa Ali and versus Buddy Murphy. This one really didn't count because it's 205 Live Championship. We got a ringside with Vic Joseph and Nigel McGuinness, formerly known as from TNA, as Desmond Wolfe. They lead us to a video package for this next match. Out first comes Mustafa Ali. Cruiserweight champion Buddy Murphy was out next. Referee raises his title as we get the bell. Murphy overpowers early on and we go to work. Ali fights him off and connects with an elbow after a face-off. They go at it and Ali sends Murphy out of the ring with a Hurricane Rana. Ali keeps him out with a drop kick. Ali goes to the top and leaps out to the floor, taking Murphy back down. Ali brings him back in, but Murphy kicks out at one. Ali with more offense now. Ali goes to the top, but Murphy grabs his ankle. Murphy ends up shoving Ali hard from the top down into the barrier. Ali lands hard and rolls around in pain. Murphy works Ali around the ring now. Murphy keeps control and drives a knee into Ali's back. Keeping him grounded, Ali comes back and splashes Murphy for a 2 count. Ali rocks Murphy in the corner. Ali slingshots Murphy into the corner. Ali ducks an elbow and nails a drop kick. Ali with more offense, including a kick to the face in the corner. Ali looks to springboard up, but Murphy launches him to the floor. Murphy runs the ropes and leaps out, taking Ali down hard on the floor. They bring it back in the ring. Ali turns it around. Ali with a super kick and a spiked reverse Hurricane in the ring for another close pin attempt. Ali with a big kick to the jaw. Ali with more offense, but Murphy blocks and works him over. Ali blocks and sends Murphy to the apron with a heel kick. Ali gets countered, but he turns that into a huge draping DDT for a close 2 count. Ali drags Murphy over in the corner and goes to the top for the 450. Murphy jumps up, sends Ali to the floor, hitting hard face first on the apron on the way down. He barely catches the apron. Murphy goes to the floor and looks to grab Ali, but he changes his mind. Fans pop as Murphy takes apart one of the announce table. Murphy takes Ali to the table, but Ali kicks him in the head. Ali runs back up on the table and grabs Murphy, bringing him down on the floor with a huge Spanish fly. Ali brings him back in the ring and looks to go for the 450, but Murphy stops him again. Nailing a super kick, Murphy ends up hitting a powerbomb and a sit-down powerbomb for a close 2 count. Fan chat, this is awesome now as Murphy goes for Murphy's All. Ali blocks for a 2 count. They collide in the corner and Ali rocks him. Ali gets caught with a huge knee on the way down. Murphy nails Murphy's Law for the pin to retain. After the match, Murphy recovers and takes the title to celebrate as the music hits. We go to replays, and Murphy raises the title as the referee checks on Ali. WWE Champion Daniel Bryan is backstage walking. Kayla Braxton stops him and asks if he's ready for tonight. But Bryan just glares at him and he starts to walk off. as he keeps walking. We got another promo for WrestleMania 35 tickets and another coming soon, Vignet, for Lon Sullivan, main roster call-up from WWE NXT. As they did a segment on the pre-show that he was coming soon. Raw vs. SmackDown 5-on-5 traditional elimination match. Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Bobby Lashley, team captain, acting Raw general manager Baron Constipated Corbin. Versus SmackDown commissioner Shane McMahon, Jeff Hardy, The Miz, Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, and Captain Miz. We go to the ring, and Cole Saws back on the commentary with Graves and Renee. JoJo introduces acting Raw general manager Constipated Corbin. First, and out he comes as a Team Raw captain. Bobby Lashley was out next with Leo Rush. Finn Balor was out next, followed by Dolph Ziggler. Drew McIntyre was out next, and he heads down with Ziggler. Braun Strowman was out last. He enters the ring and stares Corbin down. Team SmackDown captain, The Miz, was out first for his team, followed by Jeff Hardy. Samoa Joe was out next, followed by Rey Mysterio. SmackDown Commissioner Shane McMahon was out last. There's a brief fight between the two teams before the bell rings, but things quickly calm down. Strowman and McIntyre argue about who is going to start. Strowman yells at Drew to get his butt out of the ring. Joe starts off with Strowman, but Drew immediately tags himself in. Joe runs from behind and applies a coquina clutch on Drew to get things started. Drew fights out, but Joe's still fired up. Joe applies the clutch again. Drew breaks it and nails a Claymore kick for the pin. Joe has been eliminated to loud boos from the crowd. This was kind of stupid there because he was gone without much offense put onto him. Drew laughs at Joe, and a bullcrap chant starts up in the crowd. Hardy enters the ring and sizes Drew up as he warns the Team SmackDown members. Drew takes Hardy to the corner and backs off. Hardy fuels a delete chant before going at it with Drew. Drew with a big clothesline and a tag to Ziggler. Ziggler taunts Hardy and waits for him to get up. Hardy avoids a super kick, and in comes Shane for a pop. Ziggler fired up to go at it with Shane. Shane backs Ziggler into the corner with strikes. Ziggler stuns him with a drop kick to the jaw. Shane comes back with arm drag. Ziggler blocks a DDT and rolls him up for a 2 count. Ziggler with a famouser for a 2 count. Ziggler ends up hitting the zigzag on Shane, but Miz breaks at the pin. Miz tags in and goes at it with Ziggler. Ziggler avoids the figure 4. Miz misses a kick, and they roll through, but Ziggler nails a drop kick. Ziggler talks more trash about being the best in the world. Braun tags himself in, and Ziggler doesn't like it. Miz looks terrified. Drew immediately tags himself in. Braun isn't happy, and they have words. Braun and Drew start fighting. Team Raw tries to break them up. Team SmackDown also gets involved as another brawl breaks out. Team SmackDown goes up on Strowman, but he blasts out, and they all go flying. Ray drops Braun into the ropes and hits a 619. Miz and Shane send Braun over the top rope to the floor. Miz sends Drew into the steel ring post. Team SmackDown keeps control on the floor. Miz, Ray, and Hardy bring Braun over to the announce table and place him on top. Shane goes for the top turnbuckle and leaps out, putting Braun to the announce table with a huge elbow drop. Corbin is pissed. Miz and Hardy check on Shane. Corbin throws a fit and yells at the referee as we get a replay. And Braun stays out on the floor for a long time. Miz brings Drew back in the ring and kicks him for a 2 count. Referee tries to restore order as we see Paige and Stephanie McMahon backstage watching the match. Fans chant, "This is awesome," as Miz keeps control of Drew. Drew levels Miz with a glass kiss headbutt. Drew has a chance to tag, but doesn't. Miz comes in from behind, and Drew drops him. Balor tags himself in, slapping Drew on the arm, then drops Drew with a kick. Balor unloads on Miz now. Balor with a double stomp as Corbin looks on. Miz blocks a sling blade, but Balor blocks a skull crushing finale. They roll up for a 2 count. Balor keeps control, and Miz rolls out of the way from the coup de grace. Balor with a drop kick to Miz and a sling blade to Bray. Balor drop kicks Miz into the barrier. Balor brings Miz back into the ring, but Ray tags in and hits the flying seated senton on Balor. Ray keeps control with offensive Balor. Balor catches him in mid-move. Balor drops Ray for a 2 count. Constipated One is still frustrated at ringside. They go on, and Ray drops Balor into the ropes for the 619. Balor ducks it, hits the sling blade. Balor drop kicks Ray back into the turnbuckles. Balor goes up top. Ray avoids the coup de grace. Ray counters and drops Balor for the 619 again. Ray hits it this time. Ray springboards in, but drops the dime for the pin. Balor has been eliminated. Drew comes right in and levels Ray. Drew picks up Balor on his way out and drops him, then tosses him out of the ring. Fans boo as Ray drop kicks Drew from behind and goes for the 619, but Lashley tags in and drops Ray with a big boot. Lashley poses as fans boo. Lashley presses Ray high in the air, drops him, but Ray lands on his feet. Lashley catches Ray and launches him into the corner face first. Lashley with a neck breaker and Rush cheers him on as the fans boo. Lashley lifts Ray for the suplex, holds him high in the air. Ray fights out and drops Lashley on the way down. Ray went in security to Lashley. Ziggler tags in as Ray sends Lashley to the floor. Ray avoids the roll up from Ziggler. Ray kicks Ziggler in the face. Hardy rallies the crowd for Ray and waits for a tag. Hardy tags in and unloads on Ziggler as the fans pop. Hardy drops Ziggler and leg drops him for a 2 count. Twist of fate's broken. More back and forth between the two as counters. Ziggler with a stiff DDT to Hardy for another 2 count. Ray gets fans to chant for Hardy. Ziggler cranks up for the super kick as Hardy slowly gets up. Hardy counters and hits a twist of fate. Hardy goes to the top, goes for a swanton bomb, but Ziggler gets his knees up. Ziggler touches his knees as we get a replay. Seems like they're both injured now. Miz tags in and nails Ziggler in the corner again. Miz looks at Ziggler now down in the corner, and then it's Shane, who is back in the match. He points at the corner. Miz tags in. Shane limps over to the corner for the coast to coast. Shane leaps out and nails the coast to coast on Ziggler. Shane covers for the pin. Ziggler has been eliminated. Lashley runs in and levels Shane. Lashley with a big throw to Shane. Lashley with a knee and another throw. Miz tags in, but Lashley tosses him. Lashley drops Miz face first and poses for more boos. Miz and Lashley shoulder first. Miz sends Lashley shoulder first into the ring post. Miz keeps control and drops Lashley in the corner. He looks to Shane for another coast to coast. Miz tags in. Shane again. Shane can barely stand up, but he limps over to the corner again. Shane climbs up and leaps out for another coast to coast, but Braun jumps in and swats Shane out of midair. Clothesline. Lashley takes advantage and covers Shane, but Ray breaks the pin. Ray drags Shane to their corner. Hardy tags in. Lashley tags Strowman in. Hardy attacks Braun and unloads, but Braun takes it. Braun blocks the twist of fate and nails a big power slam for the pin. Hardy has been eliminated. The match is down to 3 versus 3. Now Ray flies in, goes at it on Braun. Braun shuts him down and drops him with a big power slam for Ray to be eliminated. Now it's down to Braun, Lashley, and McIntyre versus Miz and Shane. Miz is terrified as Braun stares him down. Shane can barely walk at ringside as Braun runs him over with a shoulder. Braun chases Miz down and brings him back in. Braun power slams Miz and covers him for the pin. Miz has been eliminated. Braun waits in the ring and Shane tries to pull himself back up to the apron. Shane rolls under the bottom rope and struggles to get back to his feet. Corbin mocks Shane. Shane stands up and stares back at Braun. Fan chant, "You can do it," as Shane motions for Braun to bring it, and the fans pop. Braun delivers a huge drop kick, sending Shane into the corner. Braun with a corner splash down. Braun scoops Shane and hits the running power slam for the pin. So you get Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman, and Drew McIntyre, your survivors for Team Raw. So it's a clean sweep again for Raw so far. After the match, Strowman stands tall as the music hits, but Corbin comes from behind and drops Strowman. So there goes your agreement. The pay-per-view wasn't over, so Corbin should be fired. Corbin leaves with McIntyre and Lashley. Laughing up the ramp, Corbin's music hits as he raises his arms of Lashley and McIntyre on the apron as Strowman yells at them from the ring. As they are back up on the ramp, Coleslaw talks about how WWE superstars helped the American Red Cross work the California fire victims earlier in the day. He leads us to a video that encourages fans to donate to the Red Cross. Charlie Caruso backstage with Seth Rollins. He's been focused on Dean Ambrose for weeks, but he had to focus on Shinsuke Nakamura tonight, and he got the job done. He's just lucky to make it out with a win. He goes to leave, but Charlie informs him he has to defend against Ambrose at WWE TLC. That's your first match announced for TLC. Rollins says Ambrose has been hiding, but he won't have anything to hide behind at TLC. We're going to get a video package for your next match. Raw versus SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. We go to the commercial. Out first comes Charlotte Flair, representing the Blue brand, replacing the injured SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch. Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey was out next. Of course, we get formal ring introductions from JoJo to start. Fans start chanting for Becky as the bell hits. They size each other up and trade a few counters to start. Flair takes out Rousey's knee from behind, but Rousey is still up. They tangle into the ropes. The referee tries to get in the middle. Flair shoves Rousey hard, and she goes to the mat. Fans pop. Flair powers out of an arm bar. Flair goes for the figure four, but it's countered. More back and forth on the mat, and the fans applaud. Both talents. Flair takes Rousey to the mat with a headlock as they do a dueling chance again. Flair launches Rousey face first into the bottom turnbuckle as she goes in hard. That spot looked a bit rough. Flair with a kick. Flair with a big overhead throw and a 2 count. Flair starts working on the legs and the knees now. Rousey is bleeding from an elbow to the mouth as she's busted open. She bleeds for a few minutes as it just stops. And she tries to fight up from the mat, but Flair keeps her grounded. Flair yells at Rousey to shut up. As she continues to control the match, Rousey finally breaks free by dropping Flair with a strike. Rousey delivers a knee. Rousey with an arm bar on the ropes. More like the tarantula. The hold is finally broken before the 5 count. Rousey goes up top, but Flair knocks her down. Flair comes up, but Rousey slams her to the mat face first from the top rope. Rousey rolls from the top rope into another arm bar on Flair. They tangle and roll around on the mat. Flair turns that into a Boston Crab. Rousey goes for the ropes, but doesn't make it. Flair pulls her back. Flair goes to the figure four, but it's blocked. Flair with a kick to the face. Flair hits an extra selection, but Rousey shrugs it off. Goes for another arm bar. Rousey drags Flair back, working on the arm. Flair with a backbreaker and a kick to send Rousey back to the mat. More back and forth with counters. Rousey gets fired up, but she turns around to a big spear from Flair. Flair covers for a close 2 count as the crowd pops. Even I was thinking the match was over at that point, but it keeps going. Rousey pulls Flair into another submission, but Flair applies a figure 4 submission. Could not turning into figure 8. Rousey rolls out of the ring and they both hit the floor, breaking the hold. Rousey uses the armbar and brings Flair back in. Rousey manhandles Flair, yelling out for a mixed reaction from the crowd. Rousey with strikes in the corner. Flair fires back and unloads with chops. And the woo chants from the crowd. Flair kicks the leg out. More back and forth. Flair levels Rousey with a big boot for a 2 count. Fan chant, this is awesome. Rousey counters the move and drops into another armbar, but Flair makes it to the bottom rope. Rousey drags Flair back over and pulls Flair onto her shoulders for a pin attempt. Rousey drops Flair with a Piper's Pit move. Rousey goes to put Flair away, but she hangs on. Flair makes it back to the bottom rope, and the referee breaks it up. Flair clutches her arm. Rousey yells at her to get back in the ring to finish things up. Referee counts. Fan chant for Flair as she wastes time on the outside. Flair comes back in before the 8 count, but she goes right back out. Rousey runs around the ring, but Flair nails her with a kendo stick for the disqualification finish. After the bell, Flair sends Rousey into the steel steps, Referee checks on Rousey, but Flair comes over and unloads with several kendo sticks shots, and Flair brings Rousey back into the ring and unloads with more kendo sticks. Flair brings a steel chair into the ring, but the referee stops her to some boos, and it drops right there in front of Rousey. The referee yells at Flair to get out of the ring. Flair returns to the ring and drops Rousey on the chair with a natural selection. Referees corner Flair now to try to restore order. She drops them all. Yeah, knocks the referees around the ring. Flair replaces the chair around Rousey's neck and backs off as a thank you Charlotte chant from the crowd starts up. Flair looks to finally leave as a bloody Rousey is helped up. We go to replays. Rousey is still down and out of it as the trainers check on her. Flair heads to the back momentarily. Rousey finally gets to her feet and leaves the ring with the title as another Becky chant starts up for the crowd. Rousey limps up the ramp and tells officials she doesn't want any help. Rousey stops and looks back at the crowd. As the boos pick up, Rousey heads to the back. Well, the reporter for this did not put on there that Flair did stomp the edge of the chair that was around Rousey's neck, as Rousey was still holding the chair, so not much on that for an injury angle. We get a video package for tonight's main event. Raw versus SmackDown. Universal Champion Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan. Well, we go to ring for tonight's main event. And out comes Daniel Bryan first. And he starts to Borgasm yes chant, but he goes 1, 2, stops. As he's healed, he keeps going from a smirk to strange glare from the crowd. Bryan hits the ring and waits a minute until his music hits. Music plays for a minute or so until Brock Lesnar finally makes his way out with Paul Heyman. As Brock comes out first and then followed up by Paul Heyman. As Bryan watches from ringside and smirks as he exits the ring. Lesnar makes it to ringside, but Bryan's taunting him. JoJo begins formal ring introduction, but Heyman interrupts and does the ring intro for his client and the advocate. Now the bell rings and Bryan rushes in for Lesnar's knee. Lesnar regroups and sizes Bryan up. Bryan jogs around the outside of the ring as Lesnar watches. Bryan looks to go back in the ring, but he stops and wastes some time. Lesnar goes out after Bryan, but Bryan runs back in the ring. Bryan raises his arms to play to the crowd. Lesnar returns to the ring as Bryan mocks him and waits. As Bryan's a smaller man and goes with his speed. Lesnar catches a kick and drops Bryan with a big shot to the side of the head. Lesnar smiles and picks Bryan up for the first big German suplex. Referee checks on Bryan, but he looks laid out already. Lesnar easily drags Bryan over to the middle of the ring and yells out Suplex City to get the chant going. Fans follow the lead. Lesnar easily lifts Bryan and launches him for the second German. Heyman looks shocked at how Bryan was just dumped on his head. Lesnar drags Bryan back to the middle of the ring. Lesnar picks Bryan up for the third one by his head and manhandles him in the corner for a second before tossing him across the ring by his head. Bryan grabs Lesnar's ankle as Lesnar looks down at him. Lesnar with a huge belly-to-belly throw across the ring. Lesnar with a third huge throw to Bryan. Lesnar easily kicks Bryan under the bottom rope to the floor. Lesnar raises the title to boos and cheers. This match was getting boring as I took a doze off. Lesnar sends Bryan into the barrier and then brings him back in. Bryan rolls back out, but Lesnar just ragdolls him into the barrier, as we knew that this was going to be a squash match from here. Well, Lesnar rolls Bryan back in the ring and follows up. The announcers comment on how the crowd has a stunned silence about it. Lesnar lifts Bryan and applies a bear hug in the middle of the ring now. Referee check on Bryan as Lesnar squeezes. Lesnar just drops Bryan to the mat and laughs over him. Lesnar stalks Bryan and delivers another German suplex, the third one. Lesnar stalks Bryan some more as the fans pick up the boos. Lesnar with another bear hug in the middle of the ring. Lesnar launches Bryan with another belly-to-belly throw. Lesnar scoots Bryan and delivers F5 in the middle of the ring. Lesnar covers for the pin, but stops before the 3 count. Lesnar is enjoying this beatdown. Lesnar throws Bryan to the mat again. Bryan manages to kick him in the face from the mat. Second kick to the neck brings Lesnar down. Lesnar ends up sending Bryan into the referee with an F5, inadvertently knocking him down. Ref bump. Bryan nails a low blow to Lesnar, but the referee doesn't see it. Bryan nails the flying knee, but Lesnar kicked out just in time. As you should have just went for the pinfall. Heyman screams at ringside as the crowd wakes back up. Bryan with several Borgasm kicks, keeping Lesnar grounded. Bryan unloads with many kicks to the corner as the fans count along with him. Bryan unloads with a stiff stomps to Lesnar's face now, stunning him. Heyman screams some more. Bryan runs in with another knee attempt, but Lesnar catches him in midair. Bryan slides out and sends Lesnar out of the ring. Bryan launches himself over the top to the floor, but Lesnar catches him. Bryan slides out and pushes Lesnar face first into the ring post. Bryan runs and jumps from the apron, dropping Lesnar on the floor with another knee. Bryan runs the ropes for a suicide dive, but Lesnar catches him and drives him into the ring post like it's nothing. Lesnar lifts Bryan again and rams him spine first into the post. Lesnar grabs half of the steel ring steps, rams them at Bryan, but he moves. Lesnar hits the ring post and the steps fall on him. Bryan runs back to the apron and hits a flying knee to bring Lesnar back down on the floor. Referee counts and fans count along. Lesnar counters a kick with one of his own. Lesnar brings Bryan in the ring and makes it back in just before the count of 10. Lesnar gets up and Bryan hits the running knee for a close 2 count. Both guys are down slow, getting back up. Bryan takes the knee out from behind with a chop block. Bryan drags Lesnar and slams the leg into the ring post. Lesnar falls to the floor. Bryan brings it back into the ring and goes up top for a missile drop kick. Bryan starts getting hyped up as Heyman loses his mind at ringside. Bryan charges with another knee and sends Lesnar into the corner. Bryan with another corner drop kick. Bryan charges again, but Lesnar goes for the F5. Bryan counters and drops him into the yes lock. Fans pop as the referee checks on Lesnar in a submission. Lesnar is nowhere near the ropes as Bryan tightens the hold. Lesnar powers out, but Bryan clubs him in the head several times. Bryan replies to the yes lock again. Lesnar starts trying to move towards the ropes, but Bryan keeps the hold locked in. Lesnar powers out again, but Bryan applies the triangle. They tangle a bit. Lesnar powers up and drops Bryan with F5, and Lesnar covers for the pin and wins. After the match, Lesnar's music hits as he starts to get up. First, while the referee checks on Bryan, Lesnar stands tall as we go to replays. Lesnar exits the ring with the Universal title as Heyman stands with him. Lesnar raises his fist in the air to a mixed reaction. Lesnar limps up the ramp and looks back at Bryan in the ring. Bryan is still down on the mat, but he watches Lesnar leave. Survivor Series goes off the air with Lesnar looking back at the ring and smiling. And that concludes my results for your Survivor Series 2018. Thanks again. Peace out. See you on there. And if you don't know, just call me, brothers and sisters.